What is going on, everyone? It is Tyler McKinney back here again, and today we've got a very special video for you. Hope you're excited for it. I know I am. Now, what did you think of that intro? I thought it was pretty good. I thought it was awesome, and that was done by none other than Kurt Morgan. And listen, Kurt Morgan owns Konsept Studios, and he is our very first sponsor here on this channel on Breaking the Action Sports. Check this out. All right, now Konsept Studios has the tools to develop affordable 3D models, scenes, custom logos, text animations, and video editing for your project and your business. You need to check him out. Check out Konsept Studio by emailing konceptstudio@me.com. And listen, I'm going to have it across the bottom here. You can check it out and down in the description in this video. Kurt, again, he's a member of this community. He is a member of the XFL community. If you can, support him. And if you're looking for those stuff for your businesses, check him out. He does great work, as you just saw. And if you want to be a sponsor of Breaking the Action Sports, hit me up, send me an email, send me a message down in the comments section. Hit me up on Twitter, social media, whatever, and I'll definitely try to get with you and we can work something out and get you to be a sponsor here on this channel. Now, we're going to get into the content for today because I'm super excited. I got this talk with Ernesto Lacayo. He was the kicker for the Seattle Dragons, and he sat down with me for a while, and so we're going to have a two-parter here on this one, and we just discussed everything about the XFL, his professional football experience. I'm telling you, you're going to enjoy it. Now, to those of you out there who are watching, if you had any ties to the XFL whatsoever and you want to share your experience with the XFL, hit me up, send me a message, and let me know. I would love to have a conversation with you. I would love to get your thoughts on this channel and love to do that with you. And so, without further ado, let's get to our interview with Ernesto Lacayo. Well, everyone, I got a special treat for you this evening. Ernesto Lacayo is with me. If you paid attention to the XFL, he was the kicker for the Seattle Dragons. It's exciting to have him with me tonight. Ernesto, thank you for being here, sir.
Pleasure's all mine, Tyler. Appreciate it.
Hey, thank you. And listen, this is going to hopefully this will be something that'll be entertaining, something a little different. If you go YouTube, go Instagram, go look up Ernesto. He is a guy who's been around for a while. He's been kicking for a while. He's got a lot of stuff out there, a lot of articles and stuff on him. But tonight, really, we're just going to be talking about a lot of what we do on this channel, and that's the kind of the XFL and really Ernesto's experiences with football, because Ernesto is somebody who loves football as well. And so with that, Ernesto, why don't you go ahead and, just share with the people that might not know you a little bit about yourself and kind of your background.
Well, I was originally from the San Francisco area, and I came out of high school there and played NAIA football at Hastings College in Nebraska. And then from there on, I went undrafted in 2011, and from 2011 till as of this year, I've been playing arena football for 9 years now. And then being able to get the opportunity to play in the XFL and win the job for the Seattle Dragons is what, pretty much led me to this journey. And it's been one that everyone's always known me as the arena kicker and the kicker that lived out of his van for 3 years and getting ready for NFL and XFL opportunities.
All right. Cool, man. Thanks. So let's just start there with the XFL, because you told me a really cool story, and I don't want to steal your thunder. Like, for you to play in the XFL, that means a lot to a lot of guys. But from where you started and as a kid and where to now, just kind of explain like what you did like with the first XFL and to now, what that means to you, because it's a pretty cool story, and I'll just let you take it from there.
Well, yeah, I mean, the first time around the XFL was its debut in 2001. I mean, I was almost like, I was like 12 years old or 11 years old, and I was just watching it on TV, and I happened to notice this crazy game of the XFL with the whole kickoff rules back then, and that was crazier. And just being able to see, Jose Cortez, who was the kicker for, I believe it was the Extreme, the Las Vegas Extreme or Las Vegas Outlaws, one of those two. And just being able to see the first Salvadorian kicker in the professional level in football was something that kind of inspired me, because that was a time when I was, trying out for the freshman football team in my high school, and I really had nothing to relate to. So just being able to see that at that time, and then continuing my journey and my career, and then to now being in the XFL in its second sit around was kind of something that was really touching to me. Just the fact that looking back then, see where I was, the mental state as a kid, and then, to grow up and still play professionally it's just feeling the blessing in its full sense.
Yeah, like that took me back. Not many people can say that. And, we talked about this, it's funny. You talked about being the guys giving you the older guys, but a lot of the younger guys, they're not old enough to remember the old, the first XFL.
Right. I mean, there's guys in the team there's guys on my team. They're just like, you know what? We've seen on YouTube. We never got a chance to see them. Like, and it was funny. I'm like, I asked them, how old were you in this around? And some of these guys are still in first and second grade. So I'm like, that doesn't make me feel any younger compared to some of these guys.
Yeah. So being the old guy, like, how is that these days?
I mean, in the sport world, we all know that after like 28, guys are looked down as far as getting older, which in fact, I feel like that's in our prime years, between 28 and 32, 33. But, when you're around a lot of young guys fresh out of college, or guys who are just coming out of training camps or practice squads in the NFL, it's one of those things where you're the older guy and they look up to you, and in the sense where they're asking, opinions on how to do things, or how should they take care of their bodies, or how to act in a certain way. I never thought I would get to that part of my career, and it's just something, because I'm like, wow, I can't believe at this point in my career I'm at the counseling point to get these guys' opinions, or give them opinions and give them like, or just tell them like the right things to do and how not to act.
Yeah, I mean, it's just funny because, I'm a couple years older than you here, and the funny thing is like, when you get out in the world, they still look at you as like a little kid.
Right.
And it's so it is kind of funny with that. And one of the things that is pretty cool, you've been a guy who has been in the professional football for 9 years. Like, that is crazy and unheard of, just right off the bat, right there, to do that. It kind of explain to people like how you're able to do that, because I don't think most people really, and this will kind of take us into really the whole thing and what's so amazing about the XFL, and what both you and I really love about the XFL, and what it what it offers guys. So like, explain your kind of career path and what's happened with you, because I don't think many football fans understand just kind of that thing of football. I think all they see is the final product on the TV, or when they go to a game, and yeah, they know guys work hard and they know that there's a practice field, but pretty much outside of that, they don't really understand. So kind of like, pull back the veil for us and kind of let us in on that and your experience.
Well, I mean, when you're coming out of high school, we're all our aspirations are always like, we want to play Division I. If you're coming out of high school, there's not those those options are not always there for one. And then you start to learn that there's other divisions that you can play in. And, you know, education is there, and to get your degree and then play at the same time. And it's what you make of that, your opportunity, which basically comes into what happens next. Is when I was coming out of college in 2011, I was in the same draft class as Greg Zerline, the kicker for the Cowboys now. And, you know, him and I used to train with each other in Nebraska. And so we're still both playing actively, even though he's in the NFL and the XFL. But we, you know, coming out of like NAIA, the route that you tend to go for, and you're looking for opportunity, because back then there wasn't the spring league. There was the UFL at the time. It had just ended right when I got out of college, so that opportunity wasn't there. So then, as a young man in a small school, coming from a small school, you looked for the arena football, and arena football is exciting. It's fun in spring, and it's an opportunity. It's what you make about your opportunity. And I had to learn quickly after my first year. It's a lot more discipline, dedication towards your craft, and making sure you make every opportunity, you know, the most of it. Because in arena football, the average lifetime span for a kicker in arena football is 3 games. And the reason for that is because
that's not years. Period. That's not years. I want people to understand that.
Right, and it's crazy to think that, because I mean, I know a lot of guys who have tried the arena games, and you know, they always fall for that 3-game span, or some guys are get unlucky and only play 1 game because of the fact that, you know, it comes down to the extra point as opposed to field goals. They're such high-scoring games that the games come down sometimes to 1 point, and the size of the goalpost is literally half of the outdoor post that we use in the outdoor. So it's only 3 yards the size of 2 doors, if you think about that. And so I had to go learn and do that curve around and go back to the lab and really hone down on my craft to be able to be successful. And to be able to play 9 years, there's only about 4 or 5 of us that have played more than 5 years in the last 7 years. And it's difficult. And the thing is, there's a stigma with playing arena football for so long. You know, NFL or CFL or any other spring league tends to look kind of down upon those players. But if, you know, you're chasing your dream like I was, you know, I didn't let anything tell me that I couldn't get to where I wanted to be, because I had workouts with the 49ers in 2014 and 2 years ago with the Chicago Bears, and doing so well and always proving that, hey, you know, arena guys belong. And at the same time, the kickers were able to do it at that level, because it's still professional and it's opportunity, and you have to make the best of it, what you got. Because when the XFL comes around, we're always hearing for these spring leagues. When you have the AAF or the spring league or the XFL, these are great opportunities for guys like myself, and guys, you know, are still pursuing their dreams in the lower levels there. An opportunity to get close enough to the NFL and to be able to perform. And then once you're there, I mean, it's all about how the individual wants to really take it upon themselves to really make that next move.
Yeah, and you know, kind of sticking with that whole kind of a vein, and you were talking about just kind of the whole idea of the kicking game, because I want to go there. You know, I just find this fascinating that, I mean, truly your career in arena football really has set up everything for you in the XFL, and you didn't even know it. That's really what got you your opportunities in the XFL, and kind of, I would almost say your advantage in the XFL. Go ahead and explain that, because I found that just fascinating how you were able to put the things together and and look at those things in life in those places where I truly believe that God puts us in places and leads us along things, and I truly feel like for you it was. It was truly that with it to get you into this example. So kind of explain some of that, like what the arena football set you up for in the XFL.
Well, the arena football, aside from the goalpost being so small and you being able to aim small, miss small, it helped me be a lot more accurate. And so every time I made that, the training outside or making adjustments, go to workouts, the goalposts were always so big for me that I'm like, how can I miss? And doing that for 9 years, you really start to develop that muscle memory and stuff. when it comes to like the kickoffs, I mean, it was beneficial for me when I worked out for the Seattle Dragons before, and they were telling us, hey, it's not about placing the ball 5 to 10 yards deep in a touchback, because that's a penalty. It's more about placing the ball. And in arena football, you can't kick. You can definitely kick the ball farther than the field because it's not that very big, but that's a penalty. So you have to play this game and be more really working with your craft and be able to place the ball and become a weapon in that sort, because that's what it came down to. And playing with the XFL rules for me was an easy adjustment, because there's guys who were working out with me who they wanted that to be done, or they were asked to be to put these balls in certain spots that the coaches wanted, and it was very difficult because in the kicking game, from a young age to college, I think what's so bad that you're teaching the kid is that you're only thinking about kick the ball as deep as you can, as high as you can, and there's not going to be a problem. You take away the craftsmanship behind it. You take away that kind of idea like, hey, I want to be able to be in control. And so arena really had me control the ball and make me do whatever I want to do. Then you have the old onside kick, element to the game, and that's something that's incredible, because in the outdoor game, you don't really see too many onside kicks. It's really a very small percentage of even once not only attempted, but even recovering it. Whereas in arena football, you'll probably see in one game 4 to 5 onside kicks, surprise or initial, like deliberate onside kicks, because of the fact that there's a lot of change of possession that happens a lot. And the kicker who can really control the ball and be creative and have all these bag of tricks with him is what makes that individual really successful. And to be able to move up to the XFL, where that to me, I told like my peers, I'm like, hey, the XFL is perfect for us arena guys because of the fact that we can do all these things. Aside from kick and field within a small target, we can do all these placement things that a lot of guys still are learning when they're in the lab, trying to get these things down. And it takes time. And fortunately, I had 9 years to really perfect that craft.
Yeah, and explain. So you got like a touchback in the in the XFL. There's different type of touchbacks, but explain the ones that are the hardest one to pull off, because I still think that even the fans of the XFL didn't really understand that idea. And I'll admit, it took me sitting down and actually trying to figure it out in my head that this is a game of strategy. This just wasn't just this cool nuance that they just tried to put in the game to be different.
And don't get me wrong, I mean, as much as you and the fans on TV were just as confused of what a touchback was, us as the kickers and the coaches, we are still figuring out game by game, because we're getting used to these new rules. And the touchback that was really difficult was actually the first game, our second kickoff. I think our third kickoff actually. I had kicked the ball and the returner misjudged it. He didn't know that he can catch it in the end zone, so he let the ball hit the 1 yard line, and then it went to the end zone. And literally it was like silence. I looked at the ref looked at me, and he's like, I gotta go check what's going on here. I looked at my coach, and he's like, I don't know if that's legal. And turned out to be that was the actual touchback. So that's the hardest one, is being able to trick the returner to be like, hey, I'm not going to catch this, but if he drops it inside the 5 and he rolls into the end zone, that was the touchback that everyone was looking for. But unfortunately, it's really tough, because the returner now, after the first game, started realizing, I'm not going to let this happen. If it's going to go into the end zone, it better go on the fly. So that was the thing. And that's when the kickers, I would say, whether it was myself or the other guys on the league, were starting to figure out, okay, I'm in control of the ball now. So wherever the returner was lined up, and that's when all the film study happened, and the kicker would be like, okay, if he's lined up a little bit more to the right or to the left, I'm going to kick it to the opposite side. Because we're not thinking about hang time. That's like in the NFL. Because the return team and the kickoff team can't move until the ball is caught by the returner. So you kind of have to think more of a line drive ball, get the ball to the returner as quickly as you can, because that's when everyone can move. So the hardest touchback was getting the ball to hit inbound and then to the end zone. But you didn't see too many of those unless the returner was misjudging things.
Yeah, and you brought up another point, and I kind of I want the fan to understand this as well, that the XFL ball is a much different ball. It's more of a streamlined ball, and not so much as a big ball like the Duke of the NFL. So
Right.
which that also, I think, again, for you being so used to doing, different types of balls and kicking all different things and training for all different things, gave you an advantage. And just kind of explain to people, because not many people got a chance to get their hands on this XFL ball and really got to play with it. So kind of explain to people out there exactly, just because, people just see a football and they think a football is a football. And then we get the whole thing with the deflate gate and all that, and okay, we get the whole pressures of football, but people are still thinking a football is a football, and a football is not a football. So Ernesto, just let them in on kind of what you guys experienced with this ball, because I think that's fascinating.
Yeah, because the NFL Duke ball is, to me, perfectly engineered to be thrown. Great punt and kicked perfectly. I mean, that's the ball is just on its sweet spot. I mean, you miss-hit that thing, it's just your technique. Where it comes to the XFL or even arena football, the material on the ball is always different. Like, when you're in a professional, when you go back to try to kick a college ball, the diameter of the ball is a little bit smaller, so sometimes you can kill the ball and everything, but sometimes it's a little bit consistent because it's not, engineered correctly. Whereas the arena football is a composite ball, no different than what you pick up in a basket in like a Walmart. And those balls, I mean, you try to kick that ball, it's going to be spraying everywhere. So you have to slow down your swing. You have to adjust the ball. Now, the XFL, a lot of guys, and I'm looking at it from the kicking and the punting perspective, and even snappers, a lot of guys are having a lot of difficult time getting that perfect spiral on the snap, getting that hang time on the ball for punting and for kicking. It just flew a little bit differently. You get that little more of an X ball as opposed to being end-over-end ball. And that's because of the diameter of the ball in the middle. I felt it was a lot smaller. So punters are the first ones that really noticed it because they couldn't get all their foot on that ball. So you had these bombs that they were kicking, but the hang time, which punters, they live and die by it because in the NFL is what you want. It was really rare to see a ball over 5 seconds in the air. A lot of these balls were more, in the mid 4 seconds. And that was tough, and it was something that once they noticed it, a lot of us, as far as the snappers and kickers, we started to know those tendencies too. On kickoff, it wasn't so much because the ball is on a tee and it's elevated, so there it was kind of an advantage. You just kick the heck out of the ball and it will do what you want it to do. But for kicking field goals, it felt like you never got a piece of the ball correctly. And it was always like, okay, you're kind of mishitting it. So the material on the ball is always important for a specialist because, wow, it's the difference between making the kick and not making it, or a shank punt and, having a perfect ball. I mean, but even guys like Marquette King, the punter for the St. Louis Battlehawks, I remember talking to him in the Worms. He absolutely hated the ball. He's like, we can't stand this ball. But you have to do, and you have to work with it. And that's the thing. I had to deal with it for 9 years of a composite ball. And you can't kick that ball as hard as you want to do with a leather ball because it's going to be like spraying everywhere. It's just going to be making these funny curves. So being able to at least work with those first 9 years and then go to the NFL ball was, night and day. And then to be able to have the XFL ball, I didn't make that adjustment too much. I'm like, if I can kick an arena ball, the XFL ball was so easy to me. And a lot of guys are like, how is that possible? I'm like, trust me, try kicking an arena ball for X so many years, and I guarantee you'll be just as accurate because you won't think so much anymore. And you'll lose your mind kicking an arena football. But the XFL ball, to me, I was able to adjust with it. I noticed that a lot of the snappers, they couldn't get their perfect spiral or their quarter laces turned. A lot of people don't know that. The snappers are trying to get those laces at 12 o'clock, quarter turn, and people are just like, oh, just snap the ball back there. I'm like, no, these guys, they're perfectionists. So, I mean, that's the thing. The difference in the ball was huge. And I'm not sure from a quarterback or a receiver perspective, but I mean, just even having an XFL ball in Seattle, in the cold, and in the rain, didn't make life any easier, but, we had to work with what we had.
Dude, I love that. Like, I tell my girls that all the time. You know, because that's the reality of it. And you know, when you're playing, you know, girls 8U, girls 10U softball, you go to the different fields. It's all different, man. So okay, so I am, you know, you've got I give you a brand new ball. What is your ritual to get this ball into a game day kicking ball for Ernesto to kick a 51-yard field goal?
Wow, everyone's a little bit different, and it feels like not only the specialist, but also the equipment team. Everyone's got the remedies. Everyone's got their tradition. I think our team had this special mud that came from the south. So I'm like, I don't know how this is gonna wear in the leather. But for me, what I would have to do, I mean, there's like these brushes that you have, and it's not so much the brush itself, but the wood on the back of the brush. You really got to like work that leather in, scrape off the top layer a couple times, and you got to like, I mean, it's a workout in itself. You can spend hours in it. Your forearms are going to look fantastically great after working in just one ball. And then the points on the football, you try to find a wall or anything that has a corner, and you try to jam those things in, because the points is what really hurts. If you're trying to hit an onside kick, or you hit the bottom of it on a field goal, if it's not placed correctly, you might as well feel like you broke your foot. If they're not worked in at all, I mean, that hurts tremendously. So being able to work, you know, with the brush, the back of the wood, the corners of it, and there's times where I'll put it like, I'll throw the ball on the cement and let it scrape up a little bit, get that layer out. You want to get that good layer on the leather, and just restart the process again. So it's just, you go crazy with it, but, you know, some guys are more meticulous than others. Sometimes I believe, who was it? I believe it was Nick Novak. You like to put him you put that leather coating on it, some sort of leather coating I think they use for pigs, and you put him in a dryer. You put him in a dryer for a long time, so he must have built a lot of dryers and wherever he was at, but every kicker is a little bit different. I think what was easy for me in Seattle was the fact that they got wet. So since it was raining every day at practice, that ball got heavier. As you kick them, that top layer that I was speaking about goes away, and it gets worked in a lot faster. So it was easier in Seattle. And once we got them there, we made sure we didn't see those footballs until game day. Those perfect balls that we already sent them, we didn't see until game day. So all week we're kicking pretty crappy balls. So by the time we conditioned ourselves, by the time we got to game day, and they gave us our basically our kicking bag, we were in heaven. Those balls were perfect. But every time that ball is kicked in through the goalpost, or every time it's got punted, we made sure whoever the ball guy was, hey, you protected that with your life. You put it, you know, you give it a sweater, you give it everything. If you had to speak nice to it, whatever you had to do to it, we were like, hey, you got to protect this ball. Nobody else grabs this. So
that's cool. Dude, man, let's change. You know, we've been talking about all of the, you know, the normal stuff that you talk about. Let's talk about just kind of, you know, take the curtain off of the XFL. So, like, you know, what's one of your favorite stories to tell from the XFL? You know, that's just I don't know, just something fun.
Well, I mean, me as a kid, I mean, a lot of us were wrestling fans. I mean, I lived the WWF/WWE, all that stuff. I knew all the wrestlers, and that was the thing, is that the fact that there was a tie, the XFL with the WWE. I think one of the coolest things is that I remember our first game in Washington. I'm warming up, and I don't get distracted very easily. I'm trying to like service to my punter by throwing him the ball and having to look over his shoulder. And I was like, that looks like Shane McMahon. That's Shane O'Matic. What the heck? That's awesome. This guy's neck's huge. And I'm like, hey, Brock, look at it. It's Shane McMahon. He's like, where? He looks back. He's like, yeah, it's Shane O'Matic. I'm like, wow, we all know who this guy is. So it's like things like that. You're seeing these guys that are stars and everything. And then, sure enough, our first home game, you know, we're getting ready to kick the field goal before we go inside and get ready and get ourselves psyched up. So I'm like, they tell me, hey, you got to kick this field goal. And then one of my friends is like, hey, look who's right over the goalpost. I'm like, I can't tell who that is. He's like, that's Stephanie McMahon. I'm like, Stephanie McMahon? And I'm like, oh, wow, we were just seeing all these people. I'm like, where's Triple H? I'm waiting for
right.
Triple H to just pedigree us or something here. But, I mean, that was just a cool thing, just be able to be around, celebrities that we've seen growing up. And, I mean, that was awesome.
Yeah, that's pretty cool. Did you guys have any like celebrities on your sidelines that you got to interact with at all? I know, like for instance, like during the Dallas game, they had like Troy Aikman and stuff, and that. Did you guys have anybody on your sidelines?
I'm sure we did. I'm really sure we did. I can't tell you exactly because of the fact that I'm one of those guys that once the whistle starts, when the game starts, it's really hard. I'm glad no one tried to have an interview with me on the game because they would have thought it was a mute because I don't say anything. And I'm sure they wanted to mic me up one time. I've been like, no, you're going to be wasting your time. I'm not going to say anything. And I don't pay attention anywhere else. I'm in my own world as a typical specialist. So I'm sure there were, especially in Seattle. I know that Steve Largent, the receiver for the Seahawks in the 80s, he was at our practice a lot, and that was a treat to be able to be around, legendary football players like that and to be able to share knowledge. So if there was someone that was always there, it was always Steve Largent.
And again, I want to thank Ernesto. It was just a blessing and it was an honor to get to interview Ernesto, to have him on the channel, to get his thoughts, to get us a little bit of insight behind the scenes of what a player experiences and what a professional football player experiences, especially those guys who are, really trying to extend their careers and make their dreams happen. It was really neat. And listen, hit him up, follow him. Guys, get out there, support Ernesto. Really sweet dude. I cannot say enough about him. We will be back with part 2 here coming up shortly, so be looking for that video. And if you guys are wanting to see my thoughts on all of the XFL news that's been coming out this past week, don't worry, I'll be getting to that video here soon. So be checking out, again, like I've said before, we got a lot of content that's going to be coming up, and hopefully you're excited for it. All right, guys, that's it for tonight. Hopefully you enjoyed the video and are going to be ready for part 2. Well, you guys go ahead and stay safe out there and keep up the hope. Have a good night. Bye.